Right. Today, we're going to do some programming. We're just kind of chilling, experimenting with some stuff, learning some stuff. But it is game related. I'm basically just working on a little side project, little test project in Odin. And I'm using it to test different procedural generation algorithms. So yeah. First, yeah, we're gonna have to let people know we're live and stuff. This is a bit spontaneous, so forgive me if the setup isn't perfect. Also, just notice the thumbnail to this YouTube stream is a little weird. Let me see if I have... I think... Wait, I thought I actually had... whatever. Let me bring up chat. Hey, what's up, TD? Thanks for stopping by the stream, mate. I hope you're doing good. I thought I had a thumbnail set up somewhere for YouTube for like dev streams, but I can't find it. Oh, I just realized I'm listening to music on the wrong computer, so you guys won't be able to hear it. I'm definitely not prepared for this. I don't know. I've been messing around with various setups for doing dev streams and sort of struggling to find one I actually like. But I think I kind of found it, or found something like that's better setup right now. So I'm just trying it out. We can talk about it. You know what's funny? I think I'm just gonna make a thumbnail right now. Let's get some music on. Wait, no. Hang on. Let me just do this. Actually, on second thought. Oh, sorry. I don't really care about the YouTube thumbnail. Wait, hang on. Oh, it doesn't show it. It's right. So I went live with no thumbnail thinking, oh, it'll be fine. Because who cares? But initially, it had a fucking really weird version of my profile picture on it. But it's gone now, so we're good. Alright. It did do what I thought it would do. Let me just put my game dev playlist on. So yeah, you're gonna hear some ambience. I am kind of just working here, so it's gonna be the setup for the stream right now is entirely determined by me just actually wanting to get stuff done and kind of chill out at the same time, not by being absolutely content brained by it. So you'll have to forgive any weirdness with the setup. Need to just move my headphones over here. All right. You guys hear me all right? I don't know if the music might be a little bit loud, actually. Level C Gucci? Okay, cool. Yeah, so thanks TD, by the way. I appreciate the response. Yeah, so in terms of the stream setup, you know, my setup for content creation and whatnot, turn my headphones down a bit, is actually over there. This is like, I have a tiny little desk just for dev stuff and my audio setup. And it's always a nightmare to like move my Mac and stuff over there to the other desk just to stream dev, and I never feel comfortable. I'm not in my usual setup, you know what I mean? So that's one thing. Like, I basically just got something set up to be able to just stay here, but move the camera. Well, I recently redid my camera rig a little bit, where I've got these clamp mounts and then a permanent tripod behind this desk. So it's actually a lot easier to move the camera around the room. But the other thing that always does my head in with, you know, programming streams is when I watch people do dev, as a gigantic keyboard and sort of junkie for people's dev setups, I want to hear the keyboard. I want to hear the mouse clicks. but I also want it to sound good. So it's quite hard to get the audio right. So, you know, my voice won't sound as good as usual. But, you know, you should be able to hear the keyboard and stuff like that. Because I feel like it's a different thing. Like when you're watching someone play video games, right? You can hear what they're doing in game because the game has sound. You see what I mean? Anyways, it's also more like less intrusive like this. Right. That's the stream setup. So I guess now I'll sort of explain I'm the worst person to ask when it comes to audio, because to me, if I can hear and understand what you're saying, it's fine. Yeah, that's totally fair. I think a lot of the time that is really all that matters. I come from the opposite side of having done like music and audio production for a really long time. But the keyboard should sound pretty nice with this setup. It's not like the audio setup's still ridiculous compared to most like setups. There's still quite a lot going on with it, but I'll say my face it's just not right in my fucking mouth. So what's the best way for me to show you what I'm doing here? I guess even non-Vimmers will understand the file tree. This is just a swap file. So basically, maybe this isn't the right way actually. Maybe we'll just do this. Yeah, okay. So I've been messing around with Odin recently. Odin's like a systems level programming language that is one of the many increasingly popular modern attempts at a new C alternative. And I've been trying it out. And I really like it. So I've been doing various Odin projects just to sort of learn it and test things out and get a feel for it. And don't show ass files on the stream, that could be TOS. I kind of like I laughed at myself. Like no one calls their asset folder ass, and I do it almost as a meme in every project. I'm glad you noticed it already. But yeah, so I almost hesitate to say this, but at the end of the day, if I'm actually going to do any kind of like game dev content, I need to just get over this. Because pretty much everything I do and say is gonna be like hated by like half the people interested in dev stuff online. Maybe more than, maybe even most people. I'm using NeoVim, we're not using a game engine. People are just they're out to get us already. And like even on the video that I posted talking about my game, the one video I did do about it, there's so many people that are just like, you know, see you in a decade and shit like that, which is funny because if it takes a decade, it takes a decade, but it won't. And I'm about to say something that they're going to view as such a meme that they definitely would use for ammunition, which is that I'm considering a rewrite in Odin. But the thing is, something I want to stress about my game, which, let's go to the game, right? Just so we can actually talk about this. If I, where are we? Yeah, so, like, we're not, well, the assets and stuff like that, it's like whatever, but there's not a lot going on. Something I want to stress about my game dev venture is that whilst I take it seriously and do, you know, have decent game dev experience, I'm not going to be a Pirate Software type character that pretends to be better than he is all the time. But, you know, I want to stress that this is something I do in my spare time. Like this, I haven't put. There's been lots of effort been put into it, but it's not as many. This is Earth and Heart, what I have open right now. I'm going to link it to what we're going to be doing today in just a moment. But I'm just trying to explain that. Just based on the reaction that I've had to stuff I've said about this project, I think it maybe isn't clear to people that I'm not working on this full time. I go through phases of working on it every day or just evenings after working on content. But the reality is, like, months go by where I don't work on it. It's not my main thing. It's a side thing. I want it to become a main thing eventually if the game can find some sort of success. I'm hoping to be able... But if I can sell my game to, like, most of my YouTube subscribers, I'll be super happy about it, basically. But anyway, my point is just... I'm going to just start again in Odin. And to some people, that's going to be like a meme, and that sounds like ridiculous, but it isn't, right? It isn't. This is not like, you know, it's like a few thousand lines of C or something. Well, this file's like 1,000, but this current build is not a very good example for lots of reasons. It's doing some over optimization for sure. But my point is, I just want to stress that, you know, it's not like I'm working on this game full time, you know. So anyways, with that being said, if we go to what we're working on today, how we got to this is because I just wanted to try Odin. I'm interested in new programming languages for lots of reasons. And there's several things about Odin that make it so good for game programming. And I ended up doing a prototype, which I can show you guys actually. Actually called Odin Heart. You can guess why. And if basically there is actually sound, which you'll be able to hear it through the microphone actually. So basically, if I press spacebar, it plays a sound effect, and that is loaded into memory, and the music is being streamed from the hard drive. So this was just like a tiny little project that I did just to learn Odin, right? I've also been learning some new animation stuff. So this is like stuff I did. That little sun's like what I drew. But the point is that I just did it to learn Odin to see if I liked it. And the experience was so good. That was like, holy shit, it would actually be easy to redo what I've done so far in it for Earth and Heart in Odin. Just as an example, like, I have a gist saved. Yeah, like my initial just testing of Odin is like 124 lines, and you know, this is basically drawing something on the screen, creating a window, drawing sprites, game input, streaming audio from the hard drive. Like 124 lines is like mental how short that is. And there's just lots of things about Odin that I'm really loving. For example, I think if we go, let's go into the current project that we're going to be in today, right? Like when it comes to libraries and stuff, in fact, I know Odin Lang docs. Like, so there's a handful of reasons why I actually want to just use Odin from now on for most game projects. And one of them is that the packages, right, that the language just comes with is fucking awesome. Like, it's got a big extensive core library that's like very useful, and it's not over the top, right? But it also comes with a vendor library collection. And so they vendor some of the best and most commonly used libraries for making like graphical applications, basically. So you've got stuff like Box 2D, that's like a 2D physics engine that's used in like almost everything. And to our interest, there is SDL stuff, but Raylib is included. And what that actually means is that in order to compile a project that uses Raylib, that's all you have to do. You see the line that's currently highlighted? Import vendor Raylib. That's it. Part of the philosophy of Odin is to sort of get around dependency hell by just vendoring the most common things people would use. And it kind of, you can still end up doing a billion dependencies if you wanted to, where you would hand write all the bindings and all of that, and you would end up in the same situation. But it kind of encourages you to stick within the vendor libraries and to hand roll everything else, essentially. And the reason that's fucking awesome is that as somebody that primarily works on a Mac but is, you know, making PC games, or for anybody, any project where you want to work with multiple platforms, managing dependency between the platforms can be super, super annoying, especially on Windows, because package management on Windows is a nightmare. Package management is less of a problem on any Unix system, but the fact that basically everything you would need to make almost any game is just included in Odin is extremely appealing. it also means, like, for example, if I just create another Tmux window and we go back to Earth and Heart, something that I have done for my projects is I have my own build system called Sage. And the reason it's called Sage is because there's a makefile alternative for Go, which is another language I like, called Mage instead of Make. And I basically made my own thing with it's a similar idea. It's inspired by Mage in Swift, because I kind of prefer Swift as a language. Total personal preference, none of this is important. This is all just stuff to help me with my own projects and make things simpler. So this is the reason why this is a whole separate topic that maybe we shouldn't even get into, because it'd be a topic for a whole other stream. And I do need to make videos and stuff about some of the tools I make, and I'm trying to get all my stuff open source and up on GitHub, which a lot of it is, but like my color scheme I've just released the other day, but Sage and Tasker and stuff that I use on all my projects isn't yet. So it's a separate topic for another day. But basically, just to quickly explain, like the reason to do something like this is like if you're using like Make or something like that, or like you would wind up with these script files that they're basically just bash scripts, right? Where if you're just doing very simple commands for very small projects, it's not a big deal. But for big projects, it gets so unwieldy, and the syntax is really like not cut out for something like this. So doing something like this, right, where we have tons of build flavors, right, because we're dealing with multiple platforms, we're dealing with, you know, you want sanitization builds, you want release builds with more optimization, building for Windows and Mac. It ends up super long, and doing that with just a bash script like Make and stuff you like relies on, it just gets so hard to read. It makes more sense to do it in like a proper programming language. That's the only reason stuff like Sage and Mage and anything like that would exist. But anyway, the reason I'm showing you this is that on a normal project, the Windows is actually the worst case. But even just look at something like just a regular build thing. So at the very least, even on a Mac, right, if you've got dependencies, because we're using SDL to make Earth and Heart, for example, see what I've got currently highlighted right there. You've got to tell the linker what to link to. Now, because it was installed with a package manager and this, that, and the other, all we have to do is just basically just tell it to link SDL2, and it points to it, it's in our path and everything. This is still an extra step you always have to take, and it's not a huge deal, but you can see though, like that's just for a regular sort of dev build. You know, we have to do this over and over again. And yes, we could script to always include it and stuff like that, but the fact that is, and I don't do anything with lots of dependencies, I only ever have a few, but it's just something else to think about. But then when you see like Windows, it gets even more of a nightmare. Because most people that build stuff on Windows for game dev, like they're vendoring their stuff anyway, and that's what's going on there. So that's something. Compare all of that to just that. So good. It's so good, right? So that's a major thing. The other thing is like pretty much all modern languages. Like if I go here to my Sage file for this project, you can see, you know, the commands that you just type. Well, we can just do it, right? If we want to run this project, we just type Odin run source and it just runs, okay? That's normal. Most modern languages work like that, but for C, there's obviously like a bunch of different compilers and a bunch of different tool chains people choose to use. And when you work across different platforms, you're going to end up using different compilers. And there's an issue that I ran into working in C, which is, again, for most cases, not a problem. but just as an example, you can see that to build for Windows, I'm using Clang CL, and I'm using Clang on Mac, and this is a solution I found because I was wanting to do CPU profiling so that I could get benchmarks on certain functions in the code, and in order to do that, on Windows, basically to use the Visual Studio CPU profiler, you have to compile with a very specific sort of debug output, and like most compilers like don't even do that. And then if you find one that does, all of a sudden you're using like a completely different compiler to where you're doing the dev stuff, and that is a fucking nightmare. The solution I found was that LLVM does actually do all of this stuff, so at least I can use variants of Clang, and that's the solution that I found. But again, this isn't an Odin thing, but it's just an advantage of using a modern language in general, because they all do this now. Just doing, Odin run or Odin build or whatever, it's the same compiler. It has its own compiler, right, that comes with the language, and it's on every platform that the language supports, right? So that's one of the other main reasons. And other than that, there is some small things as well that I feel like are what I like about it, that's making me wanting to just do all my game dev stuff with Odin. Like if you look at this project structure, maybe this isn't the most clear way to show it actually. Let's just open oil instead, right? So this is literally just that shouldn't even exist. This is just a test project at the end of the day. But anyway, so in here's our source code, right? The way things work in Odin is that you see if we go to the top of main, it says package main. This is obviously something that's also more of like a common practice nowadays. But something super cool about how Odin works is it's not the only language to do any of this. It's just a really good combination of things, and we'll get on to my final point in a minute. But basically, by default, everything in a folder is its own module, its own package. That's just how it works. That's why if we want to run this, we run source, the source module, because source is the folder that all of our code is in, right? So that means that for procgen, this is a different module again. And, we're labeling it as such, saying procgen there. And what this means is you can be, it streamlines being incredibly modular, which is something I like to be organized. I probably maybe get too anal about it. It's something lots of developers wouldn't like again, because look at how many file files I've got here on my sort of main stack here, but it's all to keep main super clean. But the reason this is really good is that if for people familiar with working with like C and stuff, right? If we go to see that, I actually again have a solution that I did for Earth and Heart and what I would do for any C project anyway, which is to do a Unity build system. But again, let's not get into that right now. But basically, if you wanted to in this project separate things up into different files, because obviously otherwise the project might become ridiculously hard to navigate. So the GUI manager, right, belongs in its own file, right? And it also has its own it might have its own C file, its own header file, for example, where you do all of the declarations. If you wanted to ever use that, you then have to include that in any file, at the top of any file you would want to use that code, yeah? In Odin, anything in its own package does not require an import whatsoever. Everything in the same package can see each other. So it totally avoids include hell, which is a thing in like so many programming languages. What's up, Stiggy Man? Thanks for stopping by the stream. Hope you're doing good. Oh, I have not posted in the Discord that I'm live. I thought I did just because TD was here, but I didn't. I'll have to do that in a minute. So yeah, that's super awesome. I'll finish this point and then we'll post in the Discord. So it avoids include hell. And then something kind of interesting as well is that globals are basically only have package scope. So, you know, you're not having these globals that are just omnipresent for the entire every single module in the program. So it sort of creates a scenario where you're having to be a little bit more deliberate with how you're passing data between modules. And then the final reason is I just like the syntax. And yeah, I just find like there's so many things in Odin that I'm really appreciating. That I feel like just save time and save your fingers, and there's not semicolons and everywhere and stuff like that. So those are all the reasons why I started using Odin and really like it. What if you like include hell? What if I even make the log go, oh, hello cryptography, thanks for showing up? You do you. Nobody cares what people do, I guess. It's the best way for me to do this. I need to let people know we're alive. I need to post in a Discord letting people know that I decided to stream today. Just bear with me. There we go. Best way to open the window, shout from the rooftops. True. It's funny because I tested the stream setup out the other day, but at the time, this computer had a second monitor, and I was tidying up the office the other day, and I was like, you know what? I actually fucking hate working with a second monitor when I'm programming. I just want one screen and just use shortcuts to navigate. I'm tired of turning my head, and the monitor that the second monitor I had on the stream PC over there was overly big and didn't fit in the corner, and so it was portrait just to fit in the corner, and it's super old. And I was like, fuck it, it's about time I got rid of that, and I'll just put this monitor over there, which is great. But now I don't have a screen over here. I can do like Discord and stuff. Like I've got chat on my laptop to the side here, but anyways. So what we're actually doing in this little project is I'm basically just setting up a little test tile set here. This is my first time doing a test with Raylib and Odin with pixel art. So, you know, these are 1-to-1 tiles. They're all 8x8 tiles. And we are rendering it 1080p, but it's being scaled up. So we've got that set up. And the plan is for me to test out various procedural generation algorithms and potentially start building some modules, some packages, or perhaps one procedural generation package that contains some of the any of the procedural generation algorithms that we like, that we might want to use for Earth and Heart. Now Earth and Heart, I already made a Perlin noise algorithm thing that for world generation, but it's a little bit messy, so I'm trying to just do it a bit cleaner, and so that's what we're doing. And so right now in this project we have this screen that's being drawn right now, just showing the whole tile set, and I've just today added this. Now I am straight up just using AI to generate some of the math and stuff for me, because there's certain algorithms that truly no one has ever learned in the development world. People do straight up just look it up and just copy it in. And right now it's more of a learning exercise. We may rewrite some of this at a certain point, but the point of the project, or we may not. The point of the project is just to try out some different algorithms to see what the result is, not to actually learn the algorithm by heart, right? And so right now, this Perlin.odin folder lives in a ProcGen module, and it's generating this CSV file. So I've got it to generate letters, so it's human readable, and these will represent different biomes and stuff like that. And it looks really cool in the code, as far as I can tell, but we have no way to visualize it yet. But we can see if we go to here with the biome stuff, we have all of these different settings. We've got like oceans and mountains and alpine / snow and tundra and desert and plains and grasslands and rainforest. There's even a moisture factor and an elevation factor, and where the elevation is below a certain point, it's always ocean. When it's above a certain point, it's always mountain. Where the moisture is higher, there could be more water or rainforest or whatever. Like it, and it's that sounds complicated, but it isn't. It's just a noise map created with this Perlin noise algorithm that's essentially just creating a bunch of values between like 0 and 1, and it's doing that twice on top of each other. And then everything I just said, where we're abstracting it and calling it all of these different things, deserts and whatever, which literally just done, as you can see here, just like determining different ranges for different things. But that's literally how like the vast majority of procedurally generated games work. So right now we're generating the data, and I already did a prototype to render the data on the screen with a tile map. So what we're actually in the middle of right now is we are you know, I think I should do a commit before we get started on stream as well. Read Perlin to world array or something like that. So what I'm actually in the middle of doing right now is creating an array. Basically, I'm setting up the tile map. So we've generated the data, and we stored it in that big CSV file we just sent. What we want to do is use that now as a tile map, and you know, for a G, draw this tile, for whatever, an S, draw that tile. That's what we need to set up. And in order to do that, we've got an image, which is the tile set that's being drawn on the screen. We are baking that image into the binary by just extracting the data from the image and saving it into memory, and then loading that as an image and assigning that to a texture that's then being drawn on the screen. That's all done. That's what this is. This is just for the entire tile set though. So now we need to set up a system that only draws one tile at a time. So each tile needs its own set of data. So that's what we're doing right here. So you can see here we've got tiles .rect. This is an array that represents the whole tile map. So if we go up here, you'll see this is actually not right. This we would want to be what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, 6 by 3. This is what I was in the middle of doing before I decided to stream. Yeah. So so this is actually, we want this struct So before I keep going, I'll explain what happens here. So basically in Raylib, we can draw a texture, right? But there's also a way of drawing a texture where you only look for a specific square within it. And in order to do that, you need another Raylib rectangle, which is literally just like the data of a rectangle shape, right? And you can draw with a rectangle view inside of a texture, basically. And so for the tile set, we're creating an array of rectangles where each rectangle represents a tile. And so we've done that right. We've got that struct right there for the tile set. So that contains the array of rectangles, the tile size. And then we should also include the dimensions as well of the tile. And so then we are using these for loops here to actually automatically define the dimensions of each rectangle. Otherwise we'll have to type them all out manually, and that's going to become really annoying to manage, because anytime you change something you have to do it all again. So that's what we're doing right now. So once this is set up, we'll be able to set up some kind of something that happens in the draw event that is going to use the data in that CSV file. So that's what we're doing. So we should probably do tile set no, it should be tile but we've already got an int here. We want to do like, it should just be width, honestly. We'll just do W and H. So this is one of the features of the language that I was talking about. You want to define multiple variables of the same type? Look at this. W, comma, H, comma, tile size, colon, int. You don't have to do int W, int H, int tile size. So that's nice. So so this is where we're sort of setting up our tile set. So what we want to do here is do tiles dot width equals 6 and wait, you know what? Can't this be a, can this be a constant, I wonder? We probably can, right? Let's try something real quick. Can we just do no, we can't. I'm gonna add a constant, I think. It's just, yeah, I don't really. The thing is, it's just be super annoying otherwise if it ever changes. We want because it's now, oh, it's not target, it's tile set. What am I doing? I need to redo, like, sort out my harpoon shortcuts to something that actually makes sense. 'Cause it's doing my head in right now. I'm still going to it won't, even though this is a constant, it's still not going to let me do this ever, is it? Yeah. We're still going to do it then. We're going to do it like this. So it's still, this is all still an exercise in also learning Odin still. I mean, now we've got this. We might as well also just do size as well, right? This is something that is not likely to change. I'm also my keyboard's slightly behind the mic arm right now. I don't like that actually. Let's just go tile size. That's much better. Okay. C dot tile set width. Okay, so yes. Wait, no. The whole point is that we don't have to do this. Okay. So, that's storing that. So, Right, so now oops. Okay, cool. Um, I'm now actually just wondering what happens here when we start drawing things out of bounds, but it shouldn't matter too much. We may see an error, but we may not. It should be fine. Probably not. So now we're in the draw event. So we want to raylib draw texture rect. We want to do the tile preview, I guess. Let's just do tiles dot rects, and then we'll just do like, we'll just draw the first tile for now. Yeah, I haven't thought about how we're doing positioning yet. Let's start by just drawing it at the top of the screen. And then, like tint, we'll just obviously just do white. So now I should see the first texture, which is right, isn't it? Wait, whoops. Yeah, that's right. I think for the purposes of testing, we should not toggle full screen. Yeah, because then I can just check like this. Okay, nice. We're drawing our first tile. So, is this actually X? Let's find out. It is. Nice. What about... Right, and then... This should just say it's out of bounds, right? Yeah, nice. Okay, good. So, we... I'm just thinking. Well, we're definitely going to do some for loops, some nested for loops, more than likely, right? So we're going to do like 4... What are we going to call it? Like X, I don't know, in 0, 2, what tiles? No, it's not tiles. What are we calling our world? I've forgotten already. World tile map. World. Wait. Don't we have a world with tile set with map X? Well, we kind of don't actually. Oh no, we do. That's map X and map Y. So in C dot map X, less than C dot map X. I like all the for loop options as well in Odin. Really good. And then we're basically going to do the same thing. We're going to do for Y in 0 to less than C dot map Y. Right? And then for every one of those, we're basically going to do one of these. So let me think about this. We're going to have to set up a camera once we've set this up as well, so we can actually move around a larger space than just what's in screen, just because we're generating potentially massive worlds to test this. So actually we'll have to set up some sort of player character, even if it's just a box or something. I guess we do a massive switch statements, which I don't like, but it is a thing. World tile map. X and Y. And we need to let's add Pearl in a little list here because biomes. So we've got we'll just start from the top, I guess. Case. Oh. What's O? Again? It's an ocean, I assume. Yeah, O is for ocean. So which tile do we want for ocean? I think I created something ocean-ish. It's this one. So it's 0, 1, 2, 1. So it's tile 2, 1. Let's see if we can even see anything with this. We probably can't, right? Because if we go to try and like, yeah, ocean, it's gonna be way off the screen. I guess like G is where we should start with. But we're just working our way down the list for now. So what else have we got? C for coast. So we'll do that. And we'll, I guess, assign this one so that's 0, 1. The problem is, though, we're still not factoring in where we should draw it. So what we need to do is it needs to be like X needs to be X times C dot tile size, and it's gonna need to be a float, isn't it? Yeah. And for this, we also need to do inner float 32 typecast Y times C dot tile size. That is a bit ugly to look at. Can we maybe do this? That's better. Yeah, this is actually what it needs to be. We should probably, as well, before this gets too out of control, functionize this. Because we're only passing 2 integers. This is going to get really cumbersome. Render tile proc and we will do 2 ints, and we'll do X, and we'll do Y int, and we will do render tile to one. Whoops. Much better. Just averted disaster. Right. Coast, mountain. We don't even really need to be doing that, do we? Case, mountain. What do we want to do for a mountain? I actually didn't draw a mountain tile. We could add one. Some of this I feel like... Whoa! Yeah, this tile set, I was thinking more... yeah, I think what we'll do is we'll let's take this tile. This doesn't have to be perfect or anything, it's just a visualization, obviously. But then I'll do like some sort of line tool that we'll do in a darker color. It's way too... And then we'll just do like no, that's not right. That honestly could work, but I feel like it needs to be less noisy. That's good. That's good. Right, so what's this one? So this is 2-2. A. Case A, an Alpine Peak. Okay. I mean, I think. So let's give it like this. I think Alpine. Sort of subjective at the end of the day, I guess. So 1, 2. It says Alpine / snow. You know what is really annoying? Right. We're going to have to. We had what would have made a really cool snow tile. Yeah. And then what if we make this like well, the hue is really good actually. I don't want to mess with that. But let's maybe just tame it a tiny bit. because it's a little vibrant. And then what if we gave this a similar hue or something? Ooh, yeah, that's cool. We're getting too carried away with this. We're not making an actual game. Not yet, anyway. Well, we kind of are. But this is about tested out procedural generation algorithms. Although, I do think yeah, it ain't doing much, this, is it? We're not gonna... It's good. Kind of like it over here, though. But it's sort of blue. I love this pink texture, but it's just a bit out there. I was feeling a bit spicy when I made this one, I think. But I think maybe if we... Oh, it's green, not blue, yeah. But I think if we... Yeah, this makes sense, doesn't it? Just tame that a little. Let's rein that in a tiny bit. Yeah, and then maybe we would actually... You know... Yeah. I think that's good. Okay, we're still way too carried away. So what was this? So we already, so for mountain, we did 2-2. It's actually 1-1 now. Oh shit. What's the command again to... I just accidentally did Control Z. I always forget to suspended it, that's it, foreground. So it's 1-1. Okay, whatever, dude. What the fuck's my Vim commands that I made to increment and decrement? It's just leader plus or minus, seriously. I thought it wasn't. Okay. Never mind. I probably changed it because it wasn't sane before. ironically. Right. Alpine. Oh, we've got Tundra though. So this one needs to be Alpine, doesn't it? So Alpine needs to be 1, 2. No, sorry. We should probably label these, honestly, because it's not mega obvious. And we're going to forget. Right, what else have we got? Forest. I guess we change this purple one. I think we should do like I don't know, something like that. Oops. That's fine. probably too small for outlines, really. But it might kind of work because it may look like it's sort of just shadow of the forest, if that makes sense. Not really. I think we need just sort of slightly less noise. Okay, that'll do. So that is 2-0. Yeah, we are gonna have to start eating into some of these other ones, tile sets on the side. Okay, so desert. This orange one could be kind of cool. It works. It's sort of like a orangey desert. So 1-0. What else we got? Plains / savannah. It kind of works for that as well, actually. But we're gonna need more tiles, aren't we? I actually think what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this one. And this is going to be our plains savannah tile. I'm going to grab this one. This is going to be our desert tile. And then I'm going to edit this one, and I'm just going to make the beach brighter, just so we can actually tell it apart. So it's more like, oh, that's actually nice. That's nice, actually. That's a good idea. And so this one is 0, 1, 2, 3. Oh, it's playing the slash Savannah. So it's actually a P. And I think as well we could actually, if we get like, well, I think if we maybe just, yeah, just do something like this. Kind of reduce the noise around. Don't know. Something's not quite right with this. It needs... I don't know. Definitely needs less noise. I think that's way better. That's way better. Let's make this a little bit darker as well. There we go. That's it. Right, where were we? Grassland. And that's 0, 0 for sure. What else have we got? Rainforest. It's our last tile. What the fuck is that gonna look like? Um, so I think this is the only tile we've not used, right? I think we need like yeah. And then I don't know, I feel like we need a little bit of colors or something like that. That's pretty good. I think it's kind of okay for there to be a lot going on here. Fuck it, I'll just leave it at that. Doesn't have to be great. So 0 and 2. Right. What's up, Salvasar? Thanks for stopping by. I hope you're doing good. Good to see you making games. Got a question for you. I really want to make a game of my own, but it's hard to find where to start. With AI now, you can make something working, but won't understand at all what you made. Yeah, I did make a really detailed. First of all, thanks for stopping by the stream, mate. I hope you're doing good. Really appreciate anyone willing to stop by the game dev streams. And thank you. That's a really good point and a really good question. First of all, I do have lots of tips, so don't worry. Also, I'm really passionate about game dev, and so like, feel free to ask questions in the Discord. There is a game dev channel in there, and I will more than happily help out any devs in there. I think do I have a YouTube search thing set up? I think I do. So if we go Owlface Games, how to make a game, I actually made a video all about this on the Owlface Games YouTube channel, and I think this is. I wish I had something like this when I was learning how to make games, to be honest. Let me see if I can post it in the chat. I don't know if it'll let me. I'm not signed in on this computer. There you go. Did that work? I don't know if that worked. There we go. Yeah, so that basically, to summarize, if you don't, obviously it's quite a long video. The video is really in detail. Okay, it's going to tell you everything. In short, what I will say is, if you want to make a 2D game, I would actually start with Game Maker. If you want to make a 3D game, I would start with Godot. If you want to learn an engine that can do both, I'd just start with Godot. I personally have always just been mostly passionate about making 2D games. And the great thing about I'd honestly be more inclined to say Game Maker than Godot at this point, just because it's been around for a really long time, so there is such an endless amount of tutorials on YouTube. That kind of thing for these engines that are popular for newcomers is amazing. Just go onto YouTube and just follow along with all of these tutorial series. That's really the best way to get started. But like I said, Game Maker just can't really do 3D stuff, so Godot is amazing as well. If you're more tempted by Godot even for 2D, Godot is also great for 2D. Godot is great as well. It's probably better than Game Maker, frankly. But Game Maker is definitely really good for making 2D games easily. It's how I got started making games back in the day. Fucking a long time ago now. However, there's also gonna be stuff like making assets. So if you want, first of all, just get a sprite. If you want to make pixel art, get a sprite. If you want to make models, get Blender. A sprite is really cheap, or you can get it for free online, various ways, because they allow you to compile it from source. If you don't know how to do that, there's people who've already done it for you. So A sprite is amazing. Let's do this. I'll link A sprite. So if you are you interested in making 2D games or 3D games, or you're not sure, or is it both? I'll just get you a link to A sprite. Wait, no, that's not the right. It's not done it. Hang on. There you go. A sprite. For 3D Blender is honestly amazing even for 2D. But Blender is so horrible to use, but it still is on you're gonna have a really hard time with Blender because everybody does. But it is amazing and worth using. And honestly, even if you want to make 2D games but like more vectory style or hand-drawn style, Blender Grease Pencil's amazing for that. Because yeah, following the tutorials for whatever game engine that you choose is one thing, but you're still gonna have to be able to make assets. We have a problem here, and oh. It's not working. I've not been tempted to use AI generation for that. What, for art and stuff? I mean, it's honestly not very good for it. AI isn't really very good. I use AI constantly, but I use it like Google. I primarily find myself using AI to literally just like look things up about the programming language that I'm working in, or maybe like some standardized algorithm that like everybody would just copy like out of a textbook or something from back in the day anyway. So I use AI all of the time, but you know, if you're learning and you want to find a way to just get going fast without making your own assets, there's so many. Here, let me find this as well. Kenny. There's so many amazing free game assets online. This is a whole company that centers around it. Well, like if you wanted to learn without learning how to make art, like people make free asset packs or cheap asset packs, you know what I mean? I think Kenny's mostly free. I haven't been on Kenny in a long time actually. They're constantly improving, but there's so many, like thousands of free assets. Like all this stuff, it's better than AI anyway. So if you're not gonna make it yourself, there's a link to Kenny. That's a company that does it, but they're the best at it. But there's also like what is it? Spriter's, what's it called? Spriter's Resource or something. There's so many other oh, these are from old games, right? What was it that I was thinking of? There's just so many resources that existed before AI that are still better. Open Game Art, that's it. So this is basically like open source game art. It's a little old at this point, but some you'll find amazing things as well. Itch.io as well is a great website for resources. It's basically like a really popular platform for game devs, basically. And like, if there's literally something you want, like, so primarily people use itch.io to sell the games and to host game jams and stuff like that, right? But the thing is, if you was just like, whatever it is you wanted to do, like, I don't know, like cat sprites or something like that, like, people also 2D pixel art cat sprite sheet. Although this actually, feel free to make animations, little cute little cat sprites. Like, people like give stuff away for free, and people make tools to make games and sell them / give them away for free. And the cool thing about itch.io is that it's like, it's all game dev stuff by game dev people, you know what I mean? Like, it's such a great resource. So I wouldn't really bother. There's also like lots of tools and stuff like that. There's all kinds of options, but I don't want to overwhelm you too much. But yeah, in short, same goes for music and stuff. Like in games, like you can exactly the same. You'll find free game music on those platforms too. And even if you want to take out any potential concerns about people's feelings about AI, which doesn't really matter if you're just using it. I will say, AI can be an amazing tool for learning, but just make sure that make sure you are learning. I literally, the way I got started on this current project, where now I'm really into Odin, using Odin, I literally would just think of like a basic idea of what I wanted to do in Odin, and ask like for like Claude or whatever to show me an example of it so I can see the code, and then I see the parts of it that are like and make sense to me, and then I type that in, and I'm learning all these different functions, and I'll do that over and over again. I'll start out with more heavy use of AI for code and stuff like that, right, when I'm learning something new. But then I always then try and do like internalize it, and I'll start a new project and try and handwrite it just to make sure I remembered everything that I'll learn, and I'll do that over and over and over again until I can hand roll everything important. I wish I could do it to the point where I can hand roll everything all the time, but certain algorithms and stuff are just like really hard to remember. So don't, if it like, what I would say with AI stuff is like, don't, if you're not planning, as long as you don't post it online and just try and release it, and you're just talking about doing it to try and figure things out or whatever, see how things look, for sure, like, feel free to sit an AI generate to your heart's content. It's just not really that productive and necessary when it comes to learning how to use a game engine or making assets. And if you just wasn't going to make your own assets, like I said, AI would just do a bad job. And it's the same with everything. It does a bad job with it. AI is, honestly, it's a shitty programmer, it's a shitty artist, you know what I mean? It's just, you're going to get better results other ways, you know? But by all means, use it to learn. I use it all the time, but I mostly use it like Google. Like, what's the function to do this? How does this work in this, or whatever, you know? Right. So, I might need to go to the bathroom in a minute. We're drawing one tile. Right, be right back. Gotta go to the bathroom. You see how exciting that looks again? Right. Where were we? The idea for a game I have is an MMO where the players are able to alter the environment with the elements, like in Avatar. Okay, that sounds cool. I do cover pretty much everything in that video, so I'm going to be repeating myself a lot, but you need to start as small as possible when you're learning. If you have a crazy magnum opus style game idea where you think like this could be like your sort of greatest contribution, let's say, I recommend not starting there. I don't want to say don't do it though. By all means, what something like that can be really good for is to learn how to write game design documentation. There's nothing wrong with getting started on the design work of your crazy game ideas, right? By all means, you can write design documentation for all different kinds of things till your heart's content. Sorry, auto mod just popped something up. For that stuff, you know, there's a million things out there to do with game design documentation. I'm not gonna. I know that Pirate Software has that template, but I'm not gonna. He doesn't know what he's talking about, so I'm not gonna post it. And when I did his game jam and I used it, I thought it was shit anyway. Even though I got, I think, maximum score for it or something, but it was shit. I deleted half of it. But it doesn't matter really. It's bollocks, the idea of a game design template. It's just, you know, just start, create a document and split it up into categories that you think make sense and start writing down the design. But in order to learn, you have to make lots of games and you need to finish games. You need to make games from start to finish. And so it makes more sense to just do as many small games as possible. Whether that's doing game jams are a good way to learn, but you're honestly making small games in your own time that, as long as you finish them, whether you release them or not, releasing them is a good idea for free on itch.io or something. But honestly, just making lots of small games on your own is actually better than a game jam for learning. It's not the best way to learn a game jam, but it is just a good way to practice. That's all. And I think lots of interesting and cool things can happen with time constraints and stuff like that. So they're great, but you're still better off learning on your own. Do you think he's a good dev? He's not even a dev, honestly. I was a fan in the beginning. When I saw his shorts and stuff, I thought it was really cool. And I was enjoying some of his, like, I couldn't stand watching him play video games, but like when he was working on his Minecraft mod, it was fun to have on in the background. But as time went on, I grew more and more suspicious of him. And I started to be greatly concerned that he talks like he's an expert on so many things that's even nothing to do with stuff he's supposedly an expert in anyway. That when, in my experience, people like that, it's like a massive red flag that they could just be totally full of shit. And yeah, sorry, I just realized what I need to do next on this function. And yeah, so yeah, when I saw all of the drama around him starting to unfold, some of it was just people being assholes, which I'm not that cool with. But personality aside, which I think his personality is very questionable, but just from a dev perspective, some devs made some really good points. And yeah, I don't actually think he knows what he's doing at all. I think he could overtake Pirate Software in less than a year, maybe even several weeks if you really worked at it. You could overtake his level. He knows how to use Game Maker to a beginner level, not like barely even beginner level. It's like his code is so bad in Game Maker that yeah, you could get better than that pretty quickly. So I wouldn't really listen to anything he says, honestly. Like you know, he does give people good advice though sometimes. It's not like he is still sort of a positive force in the game dev community, and I think some really good conversations could be had with him and some more experienced game devs if he was actually had a personality type where he was actually willing to be honest and not just like be obsessed with people thinking he's really good. And it's the whole thing, the whole Pirate Software thing is crazy. It honestly blew my mind when all that started to happen, and it was like it genuinely had a big impact on me because I liked the guy. I just thought he was had a bit of an ego, but lots of people do, right? But as it unfolded, like it's quite, if your perspective on Pirate Software comes from Pirate Software, it's really skewed. He does like major propaganda in his community, and he just acts like everybody online are just like haters. You know what I mean? That says that whatever they say about him. And there's definitely some haters, but yeah, most of the criticism is valid. If you want so I'll tell you what, on the subject of Pirate Software, instead of talking about Pirate Software, he really, first of all, just to put a sort of button on the Pirate Software topic, him being revealed to be a fraud really inspired me, actually, in a crazy way, because one of the things that's really bizarre about Pirate Software is the way that he says all his credentials. Hacker guy, card hack, right? He basically handled like fucking the equivalent of putting tickets in systems and stuff. He didn't actually, DEFCON or whatever conventionally talks about, like, it's just puzzle solving. No, no cybersecurity expert thinks it means anything. They're just games. They're not. You don't. When you go to DevCon, you're not hacking systems somehow. You know what I mean? You're doing little puzzles. It's not nothing to do with it even really. But the working at Blizzard thing, right? He like, again, it's like it's the equivalent of glorified support desk. I'm forgetting the specifics. Just I will say, but like the way he makes it sound like he'd be coding and finding exploits and that. But it's like literally just like he would just be in like some sort of program clicking things, you know what I mean, and talking to people basically. Not to mention all of the people's accounts that work with him, that like just say like he was just like a asshole, and he's there because of his dad basically. And what else does he say? Like, oh, hacking power plants for the federal government or something, like same thing. Like, it's not really true. You know, he had all of these jobs. It's not, the guy isn't totally lying through his teeth, but he just phrases it all in a way that makes him out to be some sort of exceptional programmer slash hacker. But he doesn't, none of what he did had anything to do with that, you know what I mean? So anyway, as all of this was coming out, one of the most revealing things to me that because honestly, I'm really skeptical when people do just start hating on people online, because people can just be assholes. Plenty of people don't like me in my comment section. No, that's not really true, to be honest. My comment section is really positive, but you know, everyone gets the occasional hater. But my point is just, there's no footprint of his dev work online, which is like bizarre. Like, you don't, if you don't have a digital footprint after doing something to do with game dev or cybersecurity for like 20 years or something, well, you're lying, because everybody has a footprint. And it really inspired me to actually start cataloging and making as much of my work public as possible, because I have been doing all different kinds of work, dev stuff. I only did professional dev work for like a few years, but for many years I've still continued to do it in my spare time and stuff like that. And a lot of the time, like, I don't make things public because I just think, well, I'm not that good, or this isn't that useful, or, you know, most of the games I've made are really shit, so why would I share them online? But seeing what happened with him it was actually a liberating experience for me, because it made me think, you know what? It's so much better for me to release this for the world, and me have this footprint and a really cool, like, history, and for people to know exactly who I am, so they know I'm not full of shit. It's much cooler to have that than nothing at all, because, like, people that are really talented and making games and stuff like that now, or just talented developers, all of their old projects suck too. You know what I mean? It's like that's just how it is. And so I don't know if everyone has seen it, but I was meaning to make a video about it. But I made a website. It's archive.owlface.games. And I basically catalog as much of my dev stuff as possible. Wait, no, that's not it, is it? Where is it? Oh yeah, this computer just had a old cached version. But yeah, if you was it in Twitch chat too? But yeah, everything to do with me and game dev is on there. All that was just a small part of a project though that I ended up doing, where I decided to make as much stuff as possible public on my GitHub. Can I? Yes, I've got stuff like pinned to my GitHub. What's this for? Okay, yeah, it's just some actions for testing builds and stuff. I don't think it's a problem for me to just show all my repos. I don't think I have anything that's a problem. But if I go to public, like I made like all of these repos public now, so I actually have like a pretty decently sized footprint, so you can see, you can actually go to my NeoVim config, like, you know, my editor that I have set up right here, right? You can actually go and you can look and see how much of a mess my NeoVim config is, and you know, have a look at all of the plugins and stuff that I use. Promptly is a tool I made myself for managing my prompt in my terminal. So you can actually, you know, this terminal prompt here that's on the screen, I actually update this regularly, because if I want to tweak to my prompt, I add that theme to promptly, and promptly allows me to swap prompts on the fly and stuff like that. My terminal theme, I recently released my color scheme that I use for editing. I made my own color scheme, for example. This is what I use in my edit. Right now, actually, I'm using a total black background because my eyes were starting to hurt last night and black saved me. So might add some different modes to it. This is a NeoVim plugin I made. My custom color, this color scheme for NeoVim, I also made for the Kitty terminal and for Tmux, because that's like my everything that, like, this whole terminal setup, all the color schemes, so it's all custom and stuff like that. Oh yeah, I forked Jonathan Blow's color scheme because the guy that originally did a port of his color scheme for NeoVim, there was basically a few sort of mistakes for handling floating windows and stuff, so I just forked it and fixed it. There's all kinds of shit here. There's not a lot of game dev stuff that's public, because most of what I actually did, I can't, it's not up to me, I don't own it, you know. But the plan is to start, hopefully get some game dev stuff up there as well. So shout out to Pirate Software, because that actually, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be doing all this like open source software stuff randomly for fun. And my NeoVim color scheme was actually trending the other day, which is really cool. It only has like 5 stars or something. In fact, whilst I remember, whilst we're on that topic, literally, if we could get a couple more people star this on GitHub, we can probably get it trending again. If you guys want to check it out, I'll post that in the chat. So shout out. Right. We're only feeding in the value for the array index, so like basically like what tile to use. We're not feeding in Um, the actual position. Yeah, so we want to do yeah. I can't type. I can never type on stream. Honestly, I am really good at typing on a QWERTY keyboard, but for programming I use like a split ergonomic keyboard and it makes me really, really slow. But the thing is, like, I program sometimes, like, honestly, I do go really long periods of time without doing any programming, but when I'm into it and I'm doing it regularly, like, I will program for like fucking 15 hours straight or something ridiculous, and just having a keyboard that I'm shit at typing on that slows me down is ergonomic and doesn't hurt my hands after like 10 hours. It's completely worth the trade-off. And if all I ever did was use this keyboard, I'd get really good at it. I will say on my right hand right now, there is like a mic stand almost touching it as well. It's no over excuse. Right. Still nothing. Let me think about this. I am remembering this function correctly, right? Raylib, draw texture, rect. Hey, what's up, Ratchet? Next time by the stream. Are we doing good? So it takes the texture, the source rectangle, yeah. We can check that. Position vector. Yeah. I think actually maybe it could be a problem with this actually. I don't know how much longer. How long have we been going? Oh my god, almost 3 hours actually. I was thinking it'd only last a few hours. Normally, if anyone asks permission to ask a question, they're just about to do a troll. But sure, if anyone wants to ask a question, you don't have to ask permission. Just go right ahead. I think what I'm gonna do is right. I'll just I oh wait, no. No. Oh, hang on. Wait, no. I thought I'd figured it out then. Oh wait, hang on. Oh, I know what it is. Do I? Oh. Sorry, you've been timed out there by the bot just because it thought that putting 3.how was a link, but I can see your messages. What is this language called? This is Odin. I'm working in Odin right now. It's a really, really cool programming language. It's sort of newish. It was only made like 5 years ago, which is in the world of programming languages is brand new. I'm a new programmer. I know a few languages like HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, JavaScript, and also C programming. How can I improve in this sector? How to be a good programmer? What you're making is it's like Minecraft as bios. Okay, I'll answer all these questions. So, yeah, so this is Odin. How can you improve and how to be a good programmer? Well, really for both those things, there's only, it's kind of the same answer, how to improve and how to be a good programmer. People will give you all sorts of answers, but the truth is, you just need to make stuff. Just do real projects and finish them. Whether it's just like you made yourself a little website, a little blog, or whether you know, some little program, little game, whatever it is. Learning by doing is the best way. Like, lots of things people may tell you is like good advice. Sometimes, like, lots of people aren't really making very serious things or aren't really doing anything for real. Like, the best sort of software is something that works. You know what I mean? So just do stuff. Lots of different side projects. I think side projects can be good. Like, if you know, I would really encourage people to try lots of different projects, basically. I think it's the only way to get good. But making sure you're finishing things is a big thing. Like, I do game dev mostly, so like game jams and finishing games is a good way to do that. But for other stuff, I do also, you know, I make, you know, little dev tools for myself and stuff like that, and I've dabbled in web dev a little bit. And the same thing applies, really. It's just like finishing projects is how you get better. If you never finish things, you're only ever learning so much. You always, when you can see the full picture, you understand so many other things that you may have messed up before. So I would, if you haven't finished projects, you don't have any finished projects, I would just pick a very small project. Lots of small projects is the way to learn, I should say. When I say do multiple projects and finish things, just pick a small thing. New developers always have really lofty goals, which is fantastic, but it's really hard to learn that way. You kind of want to do lots of small things to learn. So even if it's like web dev or some other type of systems programming or something like that, or whatever, front end stuff, just come up. Just if you don't have a lot of projects under your belt, just pick one simple idea and finish it. You could recreate a certain site. You could make a certain blog, a certain terminal tool that only takes 1 or 2 arguments or something. You could, you know, recreate Space Invaders. That's a really good one. Like with video games, it's this, like, just choosing an old retro game and like recreating it. All those single screen stuff, they're really good. In terms of what I'm making, I don't know if you may not have seen the video, so I guess we'll do this again. I did make a little video announcing that I'm making a game where I talk about it. So I'll post that in the chat. Well, basically, I'm making, like, so my main big project is a game called Earth and Heart. It's still really early in development. It's basically a combination of being a farming sim and a roguelike. And in the game, there's going to be lots of procedurally generated levels, biomes, dungeons, all kinds of stuff, right? The world is going to be like, you build your farm and village to progress, but it takes place in a procedurally generated world, and when you're going out adventuring to collect things, it's procedurally generated, right? So I need lots of procedural generation. So what this project is that I'm just sort of hacking away on today, this is like a bit of fun and a sort of learning exercise for me, because I'm only just started learning Odin like a week ago, so I'm new to the language, and I'm also new to using Raylib. I did things in C with SDL. So this is the kind of thing I do. Like, you kind of learn over time. You want to kind of learn things in a modular way and learn a smallest possible version of it. So like, this project is a Raylib Odin project, but I'm only focused on procedural generation. So the purpose of this is to test out different methods of procedural generation. So we have like a module. If we go here with this procgen module, and right now the only algorithm I have in use is Perlin noise. I haven't implemented any others yet. The point is really to test all kinds of different procedurally generated generation algorithms in Odin to find which ones that I like, that I want to use in the game. So this is a small project that's sort of isolated on itself, where I'm basically using it to test code and test out ideas, and I'm building it in this modular way so that if I like this Perlin noise module, I could actually just perfect this one module, right, this one file, maybe even right here, and drop that in any other project where I wanted procedural generation. And my goal of this project is to hopefully end up with lots of different procedural generation algorithms that generate all kinds of different interesting things for use in different scenarios, so that I could create a procedural generation package that I could use in any other future projects, including Earth and Heart, mostly with Earth and Heart in mind. But the goal, if this little project works out, which I'm sort of mostly doing for fun and for learning, but if it goes the way I want it to, it would result in a well-made procedural generation package that containing several different algorithms for different types of procedural generation. So what we're actually doing right now is we have this little tile set, something that it's not something I've put time into having it look nice necessarily or anything. I've just put it together to test procedural generation stuff. So we're randomly editing this, right? And then we're generating data with the Perlin algorithm that is being put in this big CSV file. And we're reading this CSV file and saving it as an array. And then we're trying to use this array to only render certain parts of the tile set based on, what's in here, like you would see in any kind of procedural generated game. And so where we're actually at right now is if I just re-comment in this, there are other things going on in this project because we're not using an engine, right? This is just Odin with Raylib. That's it. So it's not an engine or anything. So there's obviously a little bit of meat going on here, to do with making it a pixel art thing that's in 1080. So we're basically drawing a small game world that's being scaled up to 1080, right? And if I just render this out, we're rendering our tile map. But what we're setting up a system to just render a tile at a time, depending on what's in the map, and we're sort of in the midst of that right now. But this is something that literally, like, I did it a little bit yesterday, but not for too long. I've been doing it like a little bit today. What motivates you to make this project? I don't know if you know him, but it sounds a bit like what he does. Sebastian Larg makes little projects to learn technologies. I don't know about that guy. Oh, actually, you know what? You've just reminded me. Something that I was going to do was I was gonna say, like, we're talking about like a shitty fake game dev content creator. I'll tell you some of my favorites. So JDH is the GOAT. He hasn't posted a video in like a year, but I don't think he's working on something big from what I hear. This guy's videos are amazing. Definitely not really aimed at beginners, but it's very entertaining. Like, even as a beginner, it's entertaining to watch because he makes cool shit. But everything this guy does is without an engine. Most of it's in C. So this is a type of thing that you just don't see enough of from game dev people online. And he's my favorite game dev content creator. If you want to learn pixel art and stuff, there's loads of people that are really good for that. But I think Adam C. Eunice is some of the best stuff. He's like, Adam's really like a really good artist, and he shares loads of really good insights. One of the better people. Who else? I really like watching Prime. But it's not game dev necessarily. But if you're watching this and and you watch YouTube in the world of dev, you already know the Prime engine is massive. Right. So I think we did actually get a bit of a tell of something that was wrong before. Sebastian, let me put this in. I can still see a message. It doesn't. I actually didn't realize I had Nightbot up to stop spam links on YouTube on this channel, because I've not done anything on this channel in ages. But I can see a message. Oh, have I watched this guy? I'll check it out. I like stuff like this. I think I probably have watched this guy. Wait. Hang on. Did I? Right. Can I maybe... Can I maybe just do what, like, tiles.rex. See if it'll actually let me do this. Oh, sorry. It's not a matrix. Different programming language. Can I somehow string this? This is a bit of a weird typecast. Okay. I guess we'll do... If you had the chance, what indie game would you have liked to be involved in? I have kind of two types of games that I love and respect the most. One that is genuinely doing something unique and almost like revolutionary in its own right. That's like so incredible. It can never possibly get the recognition it deserves. And the other type of indie game that I love is just something that is really, what's the word? I guess I don't know what the right word is, but so almost like rebellious, I guess, in terms of it doesn't like this. It doesn't need to feel professional. You know what I mean? It's almost like edgy is not the right word, but you know, just like the kind of games that you just wouldn't happen if like serious money investment was involved. You know, and so for the first one, I'd have to say Dwarf Fortress. I think it's like one of the greatest creations known to man, in my opinion. If you don't know about Dwarf Fortress, there's like documentaries and stuff about it that I highly recommend watch. They're worth a watch even if you don't play the game. I just think it's incredible. And for the other category, Mugenics. I'm loving Mugenics. And it's like it's so good. It's one of my favorite games already. I would love to be involved with something kind of quirky like that, you know what I mean? Yeah, you know what? Let's we're doing some printf debugging here. Oh, it's in its own type, isn't it? So you have to actually type it out. We don't care about this right now. We care about this. Okay. That's good. So 8088. So this looks right. Okay. So that's good to know. Let me actually. I did a similar thing in a previous project. Cell level. Yeah, I was literally just thinking about this. I did the C-style for loops because you can define the iterator. Okay. I need to get some food. Might have to snack a bit on stream. But I might... I'll have to mute the microphone if I'm eating, I think. It's going to be so loud. Might even hide the camera. Right, I got a little snack in me. I wanted to show you my Neovim greeter with the Pikachu ASCII art. It's pretty funny. 100%, the issue has got to be something to do with some of the shitty math. Honestly, when I've been working on something for several hours, I oftentimes hit these obvious brick walls where it's just like some simple logic that I've just missed, and I just need to kind of take a break, really. But I'm actually really appreciating that there's people talking in the chat on the game dev stream. I'll tell you something first of all. It's gonna be this simple. Because nothing appears to be happening. Huh. That's interesting. Yeah, I think I maybe getting to the bottom of this. Right. Probably should have just stepped through this in the debugger a long time ago. Sometimes it just feels faster to just do printf debugging, honestly. To solve it, I mean, obviously. Using a debugger would be faster. But you're not necessarily going to find it right away. Yeah, so this switch statement isn't right somehow. And I think the reason is probably I'm not pointing this world tile map to the right place. So let's go to our like Perlin or whatever. Like somewhere in ProcGen. We return our world. This is the part that's not happening. Let's do a print line of like world tile map. Let's just have a little peek into this array. And just so we can make sense out of it in the terminal. Right, whatever. We'll leave it at that. What? Thanks, sorry, gotta go. Yeah, I always listen to stuff like this when I do dev stuff. It's basically I have like playlists that are all like mostly Zelda soundtracks that also have the game ambience piped into the background. Or just like relaxing rain sounds and stuff like that. Well, may have just spotted one of our first issues. How long have you been doing Odin and during it over previous lines? It's literally been like a week. I just, on a whim, the first time I heard of Odin and saw Odin, it's so funny how these things work. Like, I literally took one look at the syntax, and for whatever reason, it just didn't jive with me. It just didn't resonate out just by looking at it, which is like a big thing with languages for me. Just at a glance, do I like the look of it? And if I don't bother. And it didn't at first. I was like, whatever. But for whatever reason, like a couple of weeks ago, I don't know why, I was thinking about it for some reason. And I was taking a look at it, and I was like, I love the look of this. Why did I not like the look of this? And so I just randomly, like, I was feeling under the weather, and what I do, I always just do random programming that goes nowhere just for fun when I'm not feeling well. I feel like it just relaxes me, takes my mind off it. So I decided to do it with Odin, and I really, really liked it. And then I started to be like, well, let's just start putting the basics of what I would need to make a game together, you know? And previously, I was making my game in C with SDL. And so I was like, let's try and do the basics of like what's in my game. And then looking at Raylib and all the idea of like vendoring all of these libraries, I was like, I really like this idea. I'm not fucking around with all these package managers and whatnot. And it basically got completely out of control. I ended up making something that does way more, like a little prototype at least, not like a real thing, but just this like demo project. What the fuck? I'm tangled in my cables. What's going on here? There we go. That was like way more out of the scope of like the actual game that I was working on, and now I absolutely love it. It's become my favorite programming language over the course of a week, I think. And I'm now at the point where I'm like 90% certain I'm just gonna rewrite my game in Odin, because I'm not that far into it. And right now, I'm just testing out various procedural generation algorithms just to see if I find stuff that I like, and if I like it, I'll turn this into a little module to drop into the game that I'll make in Odin in the end. But yeah, really, really enjoying Odin. Absolutely loving it. I want to do everything in Odin. Almost everything. But I don't know what to do for food and stuff, chat. I really need to go. Oh, thank you. I think someone just subscribed to my other channel or something, and I got an alert for that. I don't even know if I even have. I don't think I have any alerts set up. This is Odin. We're in Odin right now. I don't know what to do. Like, if I should like go and make some food but leave the stream going or something. I literally just had a packet of crisps when I turned the camera off before to keep me going. Try to see you next time. True. We're not setting this array correctly, which is what is happening for the record, because if we... Did I not set something up for this tile map array to... No. Yeah. That's definitely what it is. Yeah. Maybe I can... Yeah. Right, I need to just call it, because I need to get some food. I'm not thinking straight. But I'll be probably doing another one of these streams again, if you guys like. You know, it's interesting when we're doing like dev streams. I really like watching people just program and stuff and work on things. But something that I've noticed it as a game dev is like there's a specific reason why I just put like the title is like Cosy Programming. It's like I just feel like you get so many dicks if you actually just say game dev. There's something about game dev, like content creation, where like some of the audience is so, I don't know, kind of just assholes. And it's very like lots of stuff in games seems like so egocentric. It's like I just like watching people do anything really, even if it's kind of shitty. Like I'll watch people program anything, you know. And it's cool if it's a game, but if it's not, like whatever. But I'm not like I'm not interested in doing something to like show off. It's just I think it's nice to have a nice relaxing vibe going on. So that's why I thought I wanted with the whole relaxing music and the sounds and everything. I thought the stream crashed then or something. A bit of ASMR with the keys. So I hope you guys liked it. If you did, let me know. I'll be doing more of this. But yeah, I gotta go make some food and solve this problem. Not on stream, probably, because I'll bet I'll fix it as soon as I end the stream. Alright guys, thanks a lot for watching. See you soon. Bye.